And I want to talk about Myles Garrett because his season, for so many reasons, it could be a very intriguing one. He's got another new defensive coordinator. He's coming off his suspension. He really was having a great year last year when he was suspended. So let's start there with Myles Garrett coming off this suspension. It erased the final 6 games of his season. He was just readmitted back in March. So Mary Kay, how do you think that suspension will affect Myles Garrett or impact Myles Garrett? Or is it something he'll be able to just sort of leave behind him?
No, I don't think he will be able to ever leave it behind. I think it will come up a fair amount. I think it will be part of the fabric of his story for the rest of his career. I don't think he will ever completely put it behind him, but it's how he responds to it. It's how he comes back from it. And I think he's got something to prove to people this year. You know, he did say recently in an ESPN interview that he let a lot of people down. And I think even though, he feels that in some ways he had at least a reason or something that set him off, that Mason Rudolph said, that I still think he believes that he needs to rebuild his image and get back in the good graces of a lot of people. So I think you're going to see a very hungry Myles. I think you're going to see a very renewed Myles. I think he's going to come back with a lot of vigor and a lot of energy.
He's good. He should have broken the sack record, the single season Browns sack record last year. You know, he played 10 sacks, 10 games. He didn't get to play the Bengals. He didn't get to play the Dolphins. They sacked Fitzpatrick, I think, 4 times that game. You know, they played the Bengals twice. Kyler Murray was sacked like 47 times last year, and the Browns didn't get him. But if Myles Garrett's out there, he probably does. So I think we saw what he could and should be last year. You take away some of those borderline calls on him last year, and it's an even better season. So I think we got a really good idea of how good he can be. We just didn't get the full package or the full season version of it last year. I think, if he doesn't break the single season record for the Browns this year, I would be surprised.
When they were getting ready to draft Myles Garrett, number 1 overall, the buzz phrase was generational player. He is a generational player. If you're a generational player and you want to be the defensive player of the year and all of the other things that he wants, and he has very, very lofty goals. If you want those things, then you have to come out and just have dominant monster games. You got to be a scary guy. And you've got to do it in such a way that it's within the confines of the game. That's what he's got to reconcile in his mind. He's got to be able to do it without getting, the encroachment calls. He's got to be able to do it without getting the flags. He's got to be able to do it without getting the roughing the passer call. So he's going to have a lot of stuff going on inside his head. In fact, maybe he might want to talk to a sports psychologist before he heads into the season, because he's got a lot to think about.
I thought you were going to say he needs to come out swinging, and I'm glad you didn't.
No,
yeah, well,
too soon.
Yeah.
We'll avoid that. That'll be a headline at some point.